Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Good
Good
morning.
morning.
Good morning.
How are we all? Great.
Good morning.
So I request, if feasible, then if
Good
you
morning.
can just, you can just switch on your video so that we can see each other. There could be a possible connect better.
So I'd be able to switch on in about half an hour. I'm just doing some stuff here. So
That's okay. That's okay. Yeah. Great. Ayushi, Prajakta, Vikrant, Sinjini, Manisha, Anjali Verma, Hitesh. Great to be connected. Let's wait for some more moment because people are still flocking in. Maybe a couple of minutes we can wait, and meanwhile you can, if somebody wish to reflect or share anything, they can. Yeah, Binal would you like to say something to the participants?
I'm also a participant in that sense. Every workshop is a new one, although I have been attending this for a few years now. But yeah, so I'm looking forward to questions that would come and also some that may arise and emerge. So maybe we can end up co-learning in this whole thing. So I think conversations and dialogues are encouraged. So don't hesitate to, ask your questions, and maybe we can think it together and see what comes up.
Yes. Vikrant, how are you doing?
Yeah, I am good.
Long time.
Long time.
Great.
I'm good.
Where are you right
That's
now?
good.
In Pune?
I'm in my, I'm in my
Okay,
hometown.
native. Okay.
Yeah, native. So online thing, that's very convenient as of now.
Yeah. So let's start then. It's already 9:08. First of all, few technical things let's touch upon. As Beenal mentioned, that question is more important than anything in this workshop, or otherwise in life also, that we'll explore together. So please do not hesitate to ask and stop the flow at any point in time. It's not that you must keep it inside you, and after it ends, the topic ends, then only you must ask. That protocol we are not following here. Anytime you may intervene, right? So don't hesitate yourself to intervene and share your reflection. That's number one. And these sessions are morning 3 hours and afternoon 3 hours we'll be doing. But those 3 hours will be split into half an hour sessions. So every half an hour, we'll be having a break for 5 minutes around. There will be silence. So what we'll do, we are using this non-subscripted account of Zoom, so which has got a limit of 40 minutes. So it's coinciding with our protocol of half an hour break. So it will be ending at 40 minutes and then we'll be initiating immediately after that. But you can have a bio break in that period. So it will be a 5 minutes of silence which will be initiated as you experienced while joining the session. There will be a timer and there will be a 5 minutes of silence. So those who are not going for a bio break, they can reflect upon, introspect, and bring the reflection maybe later on. So that's one thing. And
So we'll have to relaunch every time. We'll have to log in the
yes,
again
using the same
after
credential,
the break.
using the
Yeah.
same credential or the link, however you joined now. So the same thing you need to repeat after half an hour again. Thanks, Binal, for mentioning that. So, yeah,
Sir,
Prajakta.
where we can find recordings of these sessions?
Yes, so it will be, this is also another important thing, that the recordings will be curated in a playlist on YouTube. There will be a separate playlist created. By end of the day, you will find that playlist. It will be shared in the WhatsApp group. So you'll find the recordings also to revisit. So we don't encourage the recordings to be shared publicly, though it will be public link. But why it is not encouraged? Because the people, those who have not attended the live sessions, will not be able to correlate and connect the dots the way a participant will connect. So it is relevant for the participants, basically. But then also, we are not blocking any information. If anyone is interested, there could be some exceptional people, those who would like to go for a recording viewing. So for them, it's fine, just for your information. So yeah, am I missing, Shilpi? Am I missing any technical points?
No, this seems fine.
Yeah. Any query from anyone before we go for the content and exploration of the topics? Fair enough. So let's proceed then. So basically, let us inquire is an emergence over few years, the current state of workshop. It is not due to a very strategic planning that has happened in this form of workshop. It just emerged one after another, and definitely as a personal journey, this exploration started with a goal of getting relieved from the medicine-led life, and all those stuff were there. So that was a part of it. But slowly and gradually, when the truth started revealing, then the realization also came as by default, that the goals that we sketch is very limited in its decision itself. So, and this is not limited to that tiny reason, but it actually limits our capability to align ourselves with the goal, with the truth. So the goal has an impact of limiting our capability in alignment with truth. So perhaps we are exploring that only, that why at all this is this looks like a fact. Now, what we'll explore during this period of 2 days is about our experiences, So as we understand the energy, we'll be exploring the energy, meaning of energy dialectically also, logically also. But if we look at the aspect of energy, then we also understand that the experience is not the end of it. The impact of experience on our energy, actually the primary thing, which changes the life, the way we experience the things and the root of the experience. So what we usually do in our lives, that we are overwhelmed with the experience. And that's where the deception of experience overpowers. So that we'll explore. So we'll try and understand the energy and its nature, and in very raw language. It's not very, yes, Manisha, you unmuted.
Yeah, what did you say the impact of experience on
Our energy, level of energy, the energy that with which or due to which we operate in this life, right?
Yeah.
So the impact of experience on the energy actually decides the quality of life, gives the direction in the, so what we get confused is that the experience is everything. If I am experiencing, what is experience? Experience is feeling good or bad, right?
Yeah, experience can be both good or it can be bad,
Yes,
right?
yes. So we focus on the experience, that it must feel good. And that's what is the structure of life, because life is structurally hedonistic. Hedonistic means pleasure seeking. Pleasure seeking means pain avoiding as well. Pleasure seeking means pain avoiding as well. So the life is structured to seek pleasure and avoid pain. That's a structural aspect. But when it actually starts seeping in the mind, it doesn't remain in the structure. Structure is a physical aspect. Structure governs function. If the function starts governing the structure, that's where we get confused with the experience and overwhelming of experiences. So that we'll explore at the deeper level, that what impacts it has when the experiences are overvalued through the mind. Overvalued. Okay, before I proceed, I just wanted to know if there is an objection from anyone if sometime Hindi language is used in this workshop.
No objection.
Right. So, and if anybody is not comfortable with English, he or she also can come up with this. Because basically this is a primarily English workshop, but we don't mind speaking in Hindi also in between, just in case. So if there is someone who understand English, but wish to communicate in Hindi, that's also welcome. Very much. Is that clear? Right. So
So one thing you said about the pain. So
yes.
here the pain means the emotional pain or the pain of our physical body.
Yes, that's what we are going to explore. Pain
Okay.
actually is experienced at the physical level only. Be the root is emotional, like we call it psychological domain, and the physical domain. So suppose a thorn is pricked, then you will have a pain in the
Physical.
like physical pain in the physical domain. So the source is from the physical side. But if somebody has shouted at you, and you consider that's an insult, that's coming from the psychological domain. The shouting, the physical aspect of shouting is just that sound element. Till the time the sound exists, the impacts will exist for some more time, but it will end because the sound is ended, the source is ended. So the impact as an experience also is gonna end. But if the interpretation is done of it in any way, like it could be that I'm being praised, and that gives a pride. That comes from the psychological domain. But it is being sensed at the same area, which is the physiology, which is the chemical domain of the body, where the experiences operate. We'll explore that. That's a very needful exploration for life. Yeah, a few people are unmuting. Yeah, please, Manisha, Viva.
Can I, sir, so the pain experienced after passing of a loved one is similar to the physical pain when someone is shouted? I mean, it's real, right? It's not imagined. So when someone is...
Let's explore that. Let's explore that. Okay. Like when a loved one is passed away. So then what happens physically? Physically, there will be a vacuum because one is tuned into interacting with that person on a regular basis. And from tomorrow or the next moment, that person is not there. So there will be a
Yes.
physical vacuum, which is a fact. And when the total being, it's not just the mind, but your body and whole existence is having a pattern of interacting with that individual, it will start missing that individual for some time.
And the pattern seems to continue. I mean,
No,
even if
no, there is a catch. There is a catch. The vacuum, the physical vacuum that has occurred will not remain as vacuum for eternal. For eternity, it will not remain vacuum.
no, in the
Physically,
sense, what I mean is, one can continue doing the same things unconsciously because one has been doing them for a while, for years.
Yes,
You know, like cooking, like, you know, calling, trying to call them, or
yes,
keeping aside food for them.
yes,
You know, unconsciously one can
yes,
do that for a certain period of time,
yes.
but yeah, not realizing
Yeah,
that they're
so
not
that's
there.
because of the enduring adoption within the existence. You know, you have been that's also a kind of conditioning, but it's a physical kind of conditioning that you are doing the daily same thing. So you are tuned to doing that for certain period of time. That could be so lesser that period, better as far as the rationality and awareness is concerned. But that physical
Absolutely.
impact is some kind of obvious impact that cannot be termed as missing, but it's a continuation of the previous habit, the physical aspect. Now, from the psychological side, if the individual started considering that death must not happen at this moment for this individual, which is absurd because death has already happened.
Yeah.
It is my decision, my interpretation that death mustn't happen at this moment whatsoever. It could be a 7-year-old kid. It could be 70-year-old adult. But whenever the death happens, it is an optimal response of life. If we, with any excuse, any reasoning, which is a created reasoning of the mind, if we deny that fact, then we bring a conflict within. Because I have a fixation about something about the death. I have a fixated concept created in my mind about death, when it should happen, when it should not happen, those kind of aspects, you see. So then the pain that I am sensing is coming from the psychological. It's not a
And that's
physically
very common. I mean, I find it very difficult to accept that.
Yeah, because the change in the chemistry, because the change in the chemistry of the body is very real, and that gives a kind of pseudo sense of truth. But the source is not truth. Source is imaginary. That is why the impact is also actually imaginary, but for me it is looking like a real thing. And that's why it continues. So we'll understand that that fixation, the generation of that fixation.
Yes.
When you say source is imaginary, what do we mean?
Source is imaginary means that consideration that death mustn't happen for this individual at this point in time. The individual
source
and
of this thought.
Source of that feeling, source of that feeling bad sensation.
Okay.
You understand? Yeah. Manisha wanted to say something.
Yeah, you said optimal response of life. If that's death, right?
Yes.
What can you explain that a little bit more? Optimal response of life.
So under a situation, under a specific situation, the existence is structured to respond optimally. It is a programmatic structure. There is no so-called human interpreted ethics or principles that operates. It is under a certain situation. If the body is suppose diseased for a prolonged time and not able to come out of it, it is structured to come out of it, but due to the lack of energy and the lack of conserved energy, the individual is not able to come out of it. Then the death is the best suitable progression of that particular life. Whenever it happens, if we bargain with the death, it is not a suicidal proposal, by the way, I must mention, because when talking about the reality of death, the truth of death, rather, that time we get confused that is it a suicidal proposal? Are you uploading death? It is not. It is just understanding the truth of death. Whenever the death happens, that time it is the best possible thing to happen to that existence.
To that body. Naturally,
To
when
that,
it happens
to that
naturally.
existence, yes.
Right. Whether it happens for a child or an elderly person,
Yes,
the body
yes,
had a
at any
certain
point in
disease.
time.
It fought to get rid of that disease. It could
Yes.
not. So that's the optimal response.
Yes,
Yeah. So in natural circumstances, that would what you would
yes.
say. But if there's an accident or there's something unnatural,
then also at that point in time, it would actually create that. So what happens, the structure physically, any structure, any existence is structured to avoid pain. Along with the seeking pleasure, avoiding pain is also a structural aspect. So the body will start avoiding the pain. So body will never create a pain which is not tolerable. If suppose that kind of pain is coming out, try and understand this aspect. The body is experiencing a pain which is actually not tolerable. That time, that particular living organism will go senseless. Are you able to understand? Correlate?
Yeah.
Now, suppose the intensity of the pain is increasing further. Despite the individual being senseless, the pain structurally is increasing and increasing. That time, the senselessness gets converted into death. That also happens structurally to relieve the pain. Because there is a limit of accommodating pain in the body. It cannot accommodate pain eternally, endlessly. So it's a progression of pain from the sensed pain to the senseless pain to the death. If the things are continued to toxify the body and deplete energy. Are we able to connect the dots somewhat?
Yeah. So my question is, how do you know what structurally you're saying that's the truth? Structure is, there is nothing beyond it. Structure is what it is. Functional is what we create. So
What
how
it
do we know
comes
what
from.
structure?
This is through observation, that's not a conclusion as such, but till now, what we observed keenly in the existence, otherwise the existence will not exist. The existence is existing because of this knack of existence. Without this knack of existence, the existence will not exist. So with that observation,
we know what's inherent structure. So inherent structure of a human body is something that we know.
no, it's not limited to the human body, but any structure, a structure of mountain.
Yeah.
Even if it is a non-living, then also the structure is structured to exist. And that structuring is actually linked with the energy that we'll explore. The more energy conserved within the structure, the more stability of that existence it gets.
Kalyan, can we think of this with an example. When you say observation, we can see this with observation.
Yeah.
Observation of something,
Looking at the structure of the existence, structure of any existence, be it a piece of stone or an organism, a tree or an animal or a human. The framework is same of the existence. If that existence is structured to exist, then only it will exist. Otherwise, so a boundary always covers a structure, right? Why this boundary is there? How that boundary is maintained? Because
when you
of
say
the
boundary, what
Yeah.
do you mean? Say in case
a
of human
stone,
body
a stone
or a stone, yeah.
or a stone, it has these all existences do have their own boundaries. And within the boundary, a portion of energy is confined.
You mean the outline,
Yes,
the
outline,
edges
the
of the
outline,
stone?
outline. Yes, yes, yes. The outer layer of the
Okay.
existence is the boundary of that existence,
Okay.
right?
And
So it is actually constituting some energy and some matter within it, and that is only ascertaining the existence.
ascertaining means in this case,
That is guaranteeing to exist. Such a way it is proportionately designed that it will exist for an optimal existence period.
so in terms of all that symmetry and whatever,
Yes, yes, yes,
whatever is the constitution of it,
Yes,
it is designed in such a way
yes,
that in the existence that it can exist.
yes.
Uh,
Optimally. That is why a mosquito lifespan is 14 days to 20 days. A human existence is 100 plus, at least, optimally. So,
okay, so you're saying that in any physical body, the way it is physically
Structured.
constituted,
Yes.
structured,
yes,
it is optimally designed so that it can exist.
yeah, for that particular existence, it is optimally designed. Like we cannot claim that a mosquito can survive for 100 years. That's an imaginary claim or proposal or storytelling. So it is that way only it is structured in nature, and it will sustain for those many days. How it is structured.
Okay.
So how about rivers and oceans? They also have a structure.
River, yes, absolutely.
I mean, sometimes they expand, and the rivers, when the
Yes.
water from the fountains,
Yes.
the snow is more.
Yes.
But within that there is a structure, is what you would say.
Yes. So it's basically river means water, right? So water, because of its structure, it flows in such a way, then it flows and we name it as a river. Sometimes it gets stagnated, we call it a pond. So it's definitely structure driven existence that we see, that we observed all around. Right?
And
So
we
I
are
hope-
saying, sorry, yeah.
No, go ahead.
We are saying that in everything, that optimal constitution, the way everything is structured, that is the way it exists.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Right. So, so what we'll touch upon is the natural order of the things. Manisha, you want to say something? You are unmuted.
So you had earlier mentioned that functions should come from structure. Going forward, I think we'll explore that. Let it be.
Yeah.
So,
It was
understood
not
the
mentioned as
concept.
should. Just to It's
Structure
like-
gives function. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's a natural order. That's what the natural order, natural order is from structure to function. And conflicting order, as you see in the slide, on the slide, conflicting order is actually, it's a reverse order. When the function starts operating the structure, which is actually not a natural order, and something which is not natural called unnatural, artificial, right? That creates conflict. So we'll understand that. Now we'll also understand that how this conflict gets dissolved, how these conflicts get dissolved. Rather, let's use the plural term, because conflict never comes alone. It brings next conflict and conflict and conflict. So that's where we'll explore the beauty of inquiry. The beauty of inquiry in the resolution of conflict is again a fact that we'll explore together. And in that, we'll also explore agendalessness of inquiry. What is a true inquiry? That also needs to be understood. If an inquiry has an agenda, then it is not an inquiry. Because agenda means what? Agenda means you have a pre-decided outcome. A pre-decided outcome, and for which you are strategizing your questions. And those questions are not genuine questions. If you know the answer, how can it be a question? You are actually trying to juxtapose your decided answer through your questions. You are trying to extract that answer which is already pre-decided in your mind. That's what is agenda, right? When we have a specific agenda in doing something, that means, so it's not just booking a railway tickets or your flight tickets. It's not that kind of agenda that we are talking about. It's a psychological domain and the impact on the psychology that we are talking in terms of agenda. The fixated goal that we have in our mind, that actually blocks our seeing capability, observing capability. Because we are always mesmerized with our goal. The truth is much beyond. Truth is not the goal that we sketch, whatsoever it is, It could be a goal of raping a person, or it could be a goal of philanthropy, making a change in the world. All these are imaginary. We are literally nothing in respect to the truth, and we cannot, through a goal formation, we cannot ever change the truth. We'll create another definition of truth, which is a customized definition, and truth will not be impacted at all. We'll be leading in our imagination. We're leading our life in our imagination, and that will be again a pseudo life. It's not a real life at all. So we'll explore together the agendalessness of inquiry and the suppression of inquiry also. How the inquiry traditionally, culturally, and other all these believed things suppress inquiry. And then also the awakening of inquiry or reinstatement of inquiry. This is a controversial term, reinstatement, because if the inquiry is not there, then it is not there. If there is an inquiry, then it is there. So what is the reinstatement? So we can argue on that. But by the way, few seconds are left for this session. So we are rejoining immediately after that, but you can have a 5 minutes bio break if you need so. Otherwise, let's stay in silence, reflect and introspect the things which are discussed. Thank you.